Hi, my name is Sarah Mitchell. I am 36 years old. This is my story. The day my husband looked me in the eyes and said, "You'll never see our daughter again," I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I simply looked at him, picked up my keys, and decided that from that moment on, every conversation would happen through the law. Looking back, that was the best decision I ever made. My husband Michael and I lived in Austin, Texas. We had been married for 12 years and shared one beautiful daughter, Emma, who had just turned 8. For years, I believed we had a normal marriage. It wasn't perfect. We argued about money. Michael worked long hours. I worked part-time while taking care of Emma and our home. I thought we were simply going through a difficult season. Then everything changed. One evening, Michael came home and quietly admitted he wanted a divorce. He said he had fallen out of love. I was heartbroken, but I didn't fight him. I believed two adults could end a marriage respectfully. I was wrong. A week later, he packed several bags and moved into an apartment across town. Emma stayed with me. At least, that was the plan. One Friday afternoon, Michael picked Emma up for his scheduled weekend visit. She hugged me goodbye and promised she'd be home Sunday evening. Sunday came. Then 6 o'clock. Then 7. Then 8. There was no sign of them. I called Michael. No answer. I texted him. Nothing. Around 9 that night, my phone finally buzzed. His message was only one sentence. "You're never seeing Emma again." I stared at those words for what felt like hours. My hands were shaking. Every part of me wanted to drive to his apartment. Every part of me wanted to yell. Instead, I took screenshots of every message. I saved every voicemail. I wrote down the exact time of every missed call. Then I contacted a family law attorney first thing Monday morning. She listened quietly while I explained everything. When I finished, she smiled gently and said something that changed my entire mindset. "Sarah, emotions don't win custody cases. Evidence does." Those words stayed with me. She helped me file an emergency request with the family court asking for temporary custody orders. She also told me to avoid arguing with Michael completely. Every communication would remain calm. Every message would be polite. Every interaction would be documented. It wasn't easy. Michael continued sending cruel texts. He accused me of being a bad mother. He claimed Emma wanted to live with him permanently. He even told mutual friends that I had abandoned my family. I wanted to defend myself. Instead, I stayed silent. I kept a notebook. Every missed exchange, every threatening message, every broken agreement. Everything went into that notebook. A few days later, my attorney arranged for me to see Emma briefly at her elementary school after speaking with the court. When Emma saw me, she ran into my arms. She started crying. "Mommy, Daddy said you didn't want me anymore." My heart broke. I knelt beside her and held both her hands. "I will always want you," I whispered, "no matter what anyone says." I refused to say one negative word about her father. Children should never carry adult problems. That became my promise. The temporary hearing arrived 2 weeks later. I had never been inside a courtroom before. I was terrified. Michael walked in looking confident. He smiled as if he had already won. When it was his turn, he told the judge that I was unstable. He claimed I wasn't involved in Emma's life. He insisted she was safer with him. Then my attorney quietly stood. She handed the judge organized folders, phone records, school attendance records, medical appointments, Emma's report cards, emergency contact forms. Every document listed me as the parent handling nearly every responsibility. Then came the screenshots. The message saying, "You're never seeing Emma again." The courtroom became very quiet. The judge looked down at the papers for several moments. Then he looked directly at Michael. He asked only one question. "Mr. Mitchell, if your goal was to protect your daughter, why would you intentionally prevent her from having a relationship with her mother?" Michael didn't answer. He looked at his attorney. He looked at the floor. But he never answered. That silence said more than any speech could have. The judge issued temporary custody orders that same day. Emma returned home with me. Michael received scheduled parenting time, but both of us were ordered to follow a structured parenting plan. Neither parent could interfere with the other's relationship with Emma. For the first time in weeks, I slept peacefully. The months leading up to the final hearing were still difficult. There were meetings, paperwork, parenting classes, mediation sessions. Some days I felt exhausted, but I kept reminding myself that every calm decision protected Emma more than any angry reaction ever could. Michael slowly realized the court expected cooperation, not control. His angry messages became less frequent. Eventually, they stopped. At the final custody hearing, the judge reviewed everything again. He focused on one important issue: which parent consistently encouraged a healthy relationship with the other? That question mattered more than I expected. My attorney showed every message where I encouraged Emma to enjoy time with her father. She showed that I never blocked visits, never insulted him in front of Emma, never used our daughter as leverage. The judge thanked both attorneys. Then he announced his decision. We would share legal custody. Emma would primarily live with me because I had been her consistent caregiver, while Michael would receive regular parenting time under a detailed schedule. It wasn't about winning. It was about stability. Outside the courthouse, Michael walked toward me. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he quietly said, "I shouldn't have said those things." It wasn't a dramatic apology. It didn't erase the pain, but I accepted it for what it was. I simply nodded and replied, "Let's do better for Emma." That became the beginning of a healthier co-parenting relationship. Today, Emma is 11. She spends time with both of us. She laughs. She does well in school. Most importantly, she knows she is loved. Sometimes people ask how I stayed so calm during the hardest season of my life. The truth is, I wasn't always calm inside. I cried after Emma went to bed. I worried constantly. I questioned myself. But I learned something valuable. Being calm doesn't mean you aren't hurting. It means you refuse to let pain make your decisions. If I had chased Michael that night, if I had screamed, if I had sent angry messages, those actions might have hurt my own case. Instead, I trusted facts. I trusted the legal process. I trusted myself. And that changed everything. So if you're a woman who feels powerless today, remember this. You do not have to be the loudest person in the room. You do not have to win every argument. You simply have to protect your peace, know your rights, document the truth, and let your actions speak louder than your anger. Because sometimes the strongest comeback isn't revenge. It's quietly building a better future for yourself and for the child who is watching you every single day.